What's up guys, Sean here. Today I'm reviewing the Chaves Liberation 229. This is a custom. This custom modification work was done by Jonah's Creations. You can find him on Instagram at Jonah's_creations. But this is a beautiful knife. This is one of the knives that were sent in from my buddy Micah. He is one of my buddies over from the MILLIE club. And guys, check this thing out. This is some amazing work right here. So, if you guys do not know, Chaves knives are produced by REIT. And REIT is a high-end knife maker over in China. Now, I'm not really a fan of Chinese-made stuff or a supporter of their politics. However, the REIT knife manufacturer makes some extremely high-quality, well-built knives. Now, this knife is a titanium frame lock with a M390 blade featuring a hollow grind. These are on ceramic bearings. They do have a lock bar insert, steel lock bar insert. As far as pocket clips go, they come with this skull clip. And they also come with a more plain looking clip, which are both milled titanium clips. They are for right hand tip up carry only. Some of the modifications that were done on this is this beautiful Persian regrind. This beautiful rock pattern that he did all over this. Look at that. Look at the spine of the knife. Very, very nice. And then all of this black and copperish looking color, that is all Cerakote, all custom Cerakote. And then I'm sure you guys are wondering about this spike back here, or I guess you could call it a glass breaker, but this is actually the backspacer. And this backspacer right here is custom made and milled out of carbon fiber. So, very, very cool. Try to get this to focus in here on this a little bit so you can see the carbon a little bit. The action on this knife is very good. However, there has been a lot of modifications done to it to get the action this well. To get the action this good, Micah actually polished all the internals, all the internal surfaces that the bearings run on with GUNNY juice, which is the diamond emulsions. That stuff works as a very, very good polish. That's the same stuff that I use to get my mirror polished edges. And then the lock bar was actually bent by Jonah's Creations to soften up the detent and improve the action, because these from the factory, I don't know if you have ever tried one of these, but these are very tough to flip straight out of the box. This one is quite comfortable to flip and won't tear your thumb up because that tension has been relieved a good bit. But the other two Chaves knives that he sent me, they if you have your fingers anywhere near this lock bar or even pushing into the clip, it's like it's locked up. You will not be able to flip the knife open at all. Now, these retail for $350. I'm not sure how much all this customization work was, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap. With this knife, you get a 3.75 inch blade with 3.5 inches of cutting edge, because you have a little bit of a finger choil here. It's kind of a half choil, so you can't really get your finger in there. I mean, maybe just your tip, but it's a little risky because that edge, the corner of the edge right there, is pretty sharp. Especially this knife specifically, because Micah put a 20 degrees per side edge on this with his TS Prof guided sharpening system. This is a very, very sharp edge. The handle on this bad boy is 4.5 inches, and that gives us an overall length of 8.25 inches. So I've not carried this one a lot. The reason being, this custom backspacer right here, even though it looks super cool, it is pretty sharp on the tip here. And anytime you go to, or anytime I would go to reach into my pocket, I would be hitting that, and it's just not comfortable to be hitting that spike all the time. So this did not see much pocket time. However, I did do some good cutting with it, and I gotta say, I also cut with the other Chaves knives that he sent, and the blade on those ones is the stock configuration. So on the other ones, they weren't quite as impressive, but yeah, with this custom modification specifically, this knife cuts pretty damn good. The action on it, I'm not gonna lie guys, I was a little bit underwhelmed with these. These are not super fidgety to me. I can middle finger flick them really good. I can thumb flick this one fine, but this knife would be dropped shut, but the problem is it has a kind of late detent up here, and the bottom of the blade right there hits your thumb at the same time that you get to that detent point. So you're still locked in this position when you pull your thumb away, and then you can push it down like that. Or you can get it past that, but then you're getting the blade really close to your thumb and you're risking cutting yourself. So there's that issue. And then on the ones that weren't modified, those ones I can rarely thumb flick, because when I'm thumb flicking it, I usually have my fingers like this, and that keeps that tension on the lock bar, which causes the detent to pretty much lock the blade up from being able to come out. Now, one thing that's really interesting that I kind of discovered is that this knife flips really good left-handed, and my buddy Micah happens to be left-handed. Now, even though this does not have any left-hand specific carry options, there's no issue with putting this knife in your left pocket, and I think that is why he finds this knife, I think that is why he has such a fascination or love for Chaves knives, because left-handed, there is no issue with the functionality of this knife, because left-handed, your fingers aren't pushing into the lock bar for any reason. So you're just free to, flip it and do whatever you want. So other than that, the action is pretty smooth. Not the smoothest action I've ever felt, but it's definitely not bad. It is 100% solid, absolutely zero blade play, none side to side or up and down. Lockup is extremely solid, and that's like that looks like about 75% lockup, maybe 80%. So that is very solid. That blade is not going anywhere. You are not gonna baton this or whatever and get that lock to fail. So that's a good thing. Looks wise, this knife is pretty stunning. This isn't how it's gonna come, but Chaves knives seem to be very popular for having custom modification work like this done to them, and I mean, I can see why, because it looks really cool, and it's a solid knife. It's it's all titanium, and they are just a good host for this kind of modification work, especially the rock grinds and all that stuff, because you have nice large flat areas of titanium that you have a lot of room to work with. Ergonomics on this knife are pretty good. Not really any hot spots, to be honest, but at the same time, for some reason, I just don't love it. That could just be my personal preference. So I'm not saying that you won't love it. I mean, there's a possibility you will. I don't have an issue with the ergonomics. but it just doesn't feel, you know, great to me. It just doesn't impress me very much. Alright guys, so here I have the standard factory stock Liberation 229 alongside of the custom done by Jonah's Creations. And if you look at the spine of these knives, you can see how much thicker the standard is and how much steel has actually been, you can see how much steel has actually been removed from this blade to get this thing to cut so damn good. Now, the standard configuration does feature a hollow grind, however, that is a thick blade stock. And I'm not sure exactly how thin it comes down behind the edge, but I can tell you it is not thin enough to make this thing feel like a good slicer. However, after getting the regrind and this Persian blade regrind, so they went thinner and then they removed the steel to make the Persian blade shape also. Both are good looking knives. To be honest with you, I kind of like the look of the standard version. I like this clean, sterile kind of, you know, plain Jane, nice, classy, hard use look to it. It kind of looks like a knife that, you know, it can be a dress knife, but also be a work knife. So it can fill a lot of roles. It's definitely a nice looking knife. I already said that. This one does not have the modified, this one does not have the modified lock bar. Bleh. This one does not have the modified lock bar where the where it was bent to reduce the tension. So this lock bar has the full stock tension. And this one, I can middle finger flick it fine, okay? It's only when I go to thumb flick it that it takes a lot and it actually starts tearing on my thumb. And my thumb has calluses on calluses. I do not have a baby thumb, okay? And this thing does not feel pleasant after a couple flips. Now, if you are extra careful and you make sure that you don't touch the clip or the lock bar somehow, it does flip really nice. It has a good action other than that, but just like the custom one, this has that late detent, so you get that double clutch. And if you're on the lock bar at that point, after you get to that point, you know, you're not gonna be able to push that down very easy. See? If you're like that, you have to push pretty hard and then the blade slams down and it just feels kind of dangerous, to be quite honest with you. But if you get it past that, you can kind of do a really light shake and it'll fall shut. These are both perfectly centered. But left-handed, this thing flips really, really good. So if you're left-handed, this might be a really good knife for you. You might really like this because the flipping action on this thing left-handed, I'm right-handed, okay? This thing feels so damn good when I flip it left-handed. And I think that's what my buddy Micah really sees in these. Well, I mean, there's other features about it that are really nice, okay? That's not the only thing that people buy knives for, is the action. but that is a big factor of it for me personally. So, you know, left-handed, these things are pretty damn cool. I don't want to chop my fingers off. I'm not really used to closing frame locks for left-handed, but as far as flipping it goes, left-handed, it flips awesome. Right-handed, I can Spidey flick these really easy. In order to do that, all you're going to do is hold the clip with your pinky basically. You have the knife. Basically, this is the only thing that's holding the knife, is your pinky on that clip. So pinky in the clip, you're pinching it between the middle part of your finger right there and your thumb, and let this finger out like this, and then your middle finger will want to come out and meet that, and it kind of just works like that. Sometimes I'm not the best at explaining things, but hopefully you guys could see what I was doing there, and maybe that will help. And maybe that will help somebody that's having a little bit of difficulty trying to Spidey flick or middle finger flick their knives. Alright guys, so that wraps it up for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay tuned, and I'll see you